Well, good morning, everybody. Today is a great day. I'm so excited. So, finally, I got my goat to milk the proper way. So, this is what I got this morning. So, that's one feeding. We have twins. Otherwise, it would just be, there'd be 4 feedings right there. So, there's 1, 2 feedings, and then I still have almost a quart of goat milk left. I could have kept milking her. She was pretty much empty, but she was just, it's her first time. It's my first time. So the moral of this story is, for those of you who are just starting out, is that, you know what? There's not enough credit given to experience over book knowledge. You can read a book, read a book, read a book. You can read 5 books. You can read 10 books. You could read 20 books. But until you get your hands in there and you try it for yourself for the very first time, you're not going to have the gut experience. I guess maybe it's just for me, but whenever I've read stuff, like when we had our first baby goats born, and I read everything I could. I ran and I made a birthing box. I put lube in it. I put, iodine for the umbilical cords. We did gloves. We did colostrum. We did milk, a bag of milk. Not a lot, just enough, just in case. Everything you could possibly think of. I looked at like 10 different YouTubes. I read all my goat books. I talked to people who had goats, and most of them were like, goats are great. You go out in the morning, and whoop, there's 2 more babies or a baby in the stall. Well, not quite what happened with when Summer had her babies. They were twins in the same sack, and so they tried to come out piggyback. And after everything I read, it said after an hour, you need to make sure that there's progress. Otherwise, you need to get in and find out what's going on. So then a nose came out and feet like Superman. It's supposed to be like Superman. I'm like, yay, we got it. She was having a hard time pushing out, so I tried to help her, and then we weren't moving. And so I'm like, oh my God. So I put my hands in there, and it was Rowan's nose with Evie's feet. So they were literally trying to come out piggyback. Anyway, meanwhile, Rowan's head is out, but I can't get him out because I've got his sister's feet instead of his feet. And she was on top in the right spot, so I ended up having to push him back into the birthing canal, and then I had to pull her out, and he slid out right after her. I thought for sure they were dead. I mean, at that point, I looked at my daughter and I said, I think they're dead. She says, just save Mom. So, you have to, it's always good to have somebody who's calmer than you there when stuff goes bad. None of the stories I'd ever heard talked about babies trying to be born at the same time. Nobody talked about a goat that will go through the pain and push 2 into the birthing canal together. Yeah, I think when all was said and done, we rubbed them down. Of course, she was exhausted. She was in pain. She couldn't get up. Couldn't get to milk her to get the colostrum. I'm like, tick, 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 that time. So what we did was we went ahead and we got the colostrum mixed up, and we fed them colostrum. Got it into them in the first 30 minutes after they were born. Actually, it was closer to 50 because we were really hoping we could get Mom to do it, but she just couldn't do it. The very next morning, I went to work, came home, and her female parts were so swollen from trying to get the babies out, and there were some tears in it. She didn't need stitches, but, well, if you've ever had a baby, stuff tears. But I ended up rushing her to the vet because I didn't know. I'm like, oh my God, is that a uterine prolapse? I don't know what that is. I called people, and a lot of your farmers, especially where I'm at, they're old-time farmers. They're like, just put her down. Like, well, I'm not willing to put my poor goat down. She just gave me 2 beautiful babies. I intend on milking her and not having to buy dairy products. But, I rushed her to the vet, $400 later. She did not have a uterine prolapse. She was just really, really swollen because of all the, pushing 2 babies out at the same time. Anyway, so she gave her some antibiotics, which was good because I had to go in and, help. Antibiotics, some anti-inflammatory. She tried to get it so that we could just still continue to milk her, but she was just in so much pain, and she was just over it. I'm done with these babies. She was like, she is not a good mommy. She wants nothing to do with the babies. Her sister, however, much more better with it, but she didn't have any milk. So we did not milk her, and I milked one side of her once, and it was just a fight. So we decided that we're just going to let her go dry and that we would bottle feed the babies. Well, it's expensive to buy the formula. It really is. It's not cheap, especially when you got a goat out there that should be giving you the milk. Fast forward, they're fine. They're 4.5, 5 months old now. And everything I read said that goats are seasonal breeders. Nubians are seasonal breeders. That's a bunch of hoo-ha. Let me tell you, I took a trip, went out of state for 1 week, literally 8 days. And my daughter calls me 2 days before I'm supposed to be coming home. Mom, I went out in the barn and there's babies in with Autumn. I'm like, oh crap. Teeny tiny. These are smaller than the other ones that were born. She didn't think they were going to make it. But we had the colostrum, we had the milk, milk. And I'm like, well, I'm going to be home in 2 days. Try and milk her a little bit, see if we can get this going. And that way we don't have to buy the colostrum. And then maybe when the babies get stronger, we could put the babies on the mom and see if she'll let them nurse. Trick is, I learned, whenever you milk the goat, you always have to take the mom's milk and put it like on their head, couple drops on their head and along their top line and then on their butt, the top of their butt, not like their, bottom of their butt. But that means mom can smell herself on the babies, and so she knows that those are her babies. And if you just give them colostrum and formula, they don't get the smell of mom, and you're less likely to be able to put the baby onto a mommy. The stuff you learn. But like, again, I said, hands-on experience. I don't care how many books you read. You learn so much with hands-on experience. So, like, she chewed the umbilicals off. The cords off. We didn't have to dip them in iodine. We rubbed a little bit on the belly where they had been there, but she took care of them. Steffi went out, and there was nothing but dry, very, very small, very lethargic babies. These babies, we didn't have, because the colostrum didn't get in them within the first hour. We have had to give them electrolytes. We have given them selenium paste. We have given them, because one of them, their legs were funky. And the cure for that is they're low in selenium, which I know we're low in selenium in this area, so I'm not surprised that that happened. And had I known she was pregnant, I would have given her a little bit of selenium. You can overdose on selenium, so you don't want to give a lot, but you can give a little bit. Our horses are on a selenium salt lick, so they get selenium when they lick the salt. Let's see. So we don't have a milking stanchion because she wasn't pregnant. And so I have literally been 2 hours, it took me 2 hours to get this milk, okay? And I know some of you are thinking, that's outrageous. Well, but 2 hours to get this milk. She's a better milker. I'm a better milker. And next time, maybe it'll only take 2 hours tonight. And maybe tomorrow it'll only take an hour and a half. And then that tomorrow night, an hour. And then pretty soon you're down to time because now we know what's happening. But if you don't persist and you don't keep trying and you don't give yourself credit for mistakes. So let's see the mistakes we made with the first one. There's absolutely no way those boys are going to hang out with the girls, period, ever. Because obviously they're not seasonal breeders like I was told. Benefit, I had a baby in August. I didn't have a baby in February when it's 20 below. So it's not babies. We had two. This time they were not coming out as piggyback Supermans. So there's just so much to be said for the experience. So you could tell yourself, I can't milk because I don't have a stanchion. I can't milk because I don't know how. I can't milk because it takes too long. I don't have the hours to invest. Yeah, you do. You need to set your priorities. If you really honestly don't have the time, then maybe you shouldn't have dairy goats. Maybe you should just have meat goats. Maybe you should, this milk, goat milk, is so much better for those babies than the formula. That when you start reading about bloat and about their rumen not becoming very well established and getting the proper bacteria and stuff in there, you should be using more of the milk. And you know what? Because I don't have a stanchion, and because we are moving around, hair gets in the milk. And I strain it out and take it out of the milk, and I let them drink it. Because you know what? If they were out there sucking off mom in the wild, Without me, I wouldn't be out there every time they wanted to feed to wipe off her udders. I'm not going to be out there to brush her to make sure all the hair gets off of them. They're going to get hair in their mouth. They're going to get dirt in their mouth. They're goats. They live outside. If you think that everything has to be completely sterile and stuff, that yes, it does for commercial purposes because that's how you're selling things and you're shipping it far away. But in the real world, especially when you're feeding a goat from a goat's mom, guess what? Yeah. You're going to get hair in it. And my husband's like totally grossed out. But I don't care. Eventually, I'd like to have our own goat milk so I don't have to buy dairy products, like I said. But that's my goal. And you know what? If that means I have to milk twice a day before I go to work and then after I come home from work, I'm fine with that. That's a commitment I've made, the decision that I made. I'm more than happy to do that. However, give yourself credit for the experience. Don't be afraid to try something. Because even when you fail or don't succeed 100%, let's say you only had a 75% achievement of whatever you were doing, that's still so much experience and so much knowledge you've just locked into your mind that you're going to keep and you're going to remember, and you'll build on that the next time that you have something to do. Or, it could be a totally different animal, but you go, oh, God, you know what? Yeah, I could do that. Like goat milk. Let's say I didn't want to use it all. I could give goat milk to my chickens, my meat birds, especially because there's a lot of protein in goat milk. Some farmers use the skim milk after they make butter to feed their pigs. So that's what their pigs eat. And then they butcher their pigs and they eat the pigs. So it's this big, huge circle of life and food and energy that commercialism and big corporate America has completely forgot about. And you're not going to find it until you come and get into your own stuff. So take a chance, try something new, get that experience. And if it doesn't work out perfectly, it doesn't work out perfectly. We're not all astronauts and we're not all idiots. So in between there, most of us are. And give yourself credit for those mistakes because sometimes those mistakes are the best learning examples you can get. So yay me, here's my goat milk. Now I'm going to go out and pick some herbs to make a nice winter herbal tea. I'll dehydrate them and I'll make a video on that later. Have a good day, guys. Bye.